3 most picked hero in the Mythic up until like Mythical Glory. It just really says something about the buffs that were given to her. And I love how it goes to the hands of Cuffin, right? Like it needs to be utilized properly. And at the same time, if you look at the mid lane here for the side of S2G, they pick up the Valentina here this time. So both letter Vs for the mid lane, the Vixana and a Valentina. What's going to be really crucial here is which ultimate is Begin going to pick up, right? There's a lot of really good ultimates here to pick up for the side of S2G, so he really has to be wise when it comes to picking up those ultimates, right? It can really change the tides of the game. But over the gold lane, I would definitely say that Sano has a lot more advantage here when it comes to the laning phase. BMI out, you can pretty much escape anything. And Sigibum, though, does have the potential to kind of like poke Sano here on his lane to make sure that he kind of makes him back away when it comes to, you know, picking up those gold cards in the early game.
Yeah, it's all going to be about, while Twisted Minds, they do have the advantage with the Claude, it's all going to come down to whether or not S2G can create those opportunities where Sigibum is able to kind of get his stacks, get those crits, get that damage up throughout the fight where he's actually chunking them down while still protecting him. Because he does, I want to say, like, one of the big faults of Bruno is how close he needs to get compared to other marksmen to the fight while dishing out a lot of damage. So it's going to be very tricky. We're going to see how S2G can kind of compete with that.
Yeah, the Tigreal ultimate proves to be really deadly too right now. I mean, if you manage to snag in at least like 2 or 3, that would be really good. And the stun that it kind of has when you pop in the ultimate. It's going to be good when it comes to team fights here. So Twisted Minds has to kind of watch out for that. Already starting up this turtle. I do love the attempt here by Lunar, but that's going to be Twisted Mind picking up the first turtle of the game. This is huge for their side.
Yeah, huge and kind of, I want to say, uncharacteristic. S2G usually a big part of these early objectives, make sure that they have the pressure and make sure that they're a part of a lot of these objective fights to make sure that they're always contested. So it's actually, I want to say, unlike S2G to not be a part of that, especially Kazoo, who was cleaning up his buff there at the moment.
Yeah, the thing here about the S2G is their lineup can get really deadly, right? It's pretty much similar to what we've seen in game number 1. They got that Ruby, which seems to be joining a lot of these team fights, right? And it's not easy to take it down. So I really like the composition that they picked up this time. Pretty similar to what they had in game number 1. And Marrow's in trouble here, though. His first blood's going to go to the side of S2G. Great start.
Yeah, we were just talking about that implosion, the stun right at the beginning, immediate, and then we had the decimation by Kazoo, able to clean that up very quickly for that first blood, and now it's going to go ahead and put a ton of pressure onto this purple buff, but it does look like Kazoo going to go ahead and turn away from it.
Yeah, first blood again goes to the side of S2G. First turtle, let's see if Hoda's going to be able to take it in. Okay, face checks onto the bush. Haro, though, he's trying to get something. He still has that ultimate up, but yeah, the burst is too much here to handle for the side of Twisted Minds.
Yeah, way too much right now. And now we're coming down here to the bottom. Sigibum in a little bit of trouble here, trying to still put on the damage, and he might be getting caught. Yeah, and that's going to be enough with the power not able to protect him from 4 members of Twisted Minds. And they close the distance quickly.
Yeah, and they're making sure that, you know, Sano is well farmed up once it comes to the late game, right? And even taking advantage of the time that the Bruno still kind of needs that assistance when it comes to that early game. And S2G seems to be focused on these team fights right now. And Caro waiting for the right time to pop in that ultimate. He does not have that flicker, though. Twisted Minds are already taking in the first turtle. Let's see if they can find it once again. Here comes the final slash.
Yeah, and then we have the Appraiser's Wrath come out there as well. Soda does find a kill onto Lunar. That's going to be 1 down for S2G as they're fighting for this turtle. They're going to be able to clean this up with a great zoning out there. Maro even pushing Kazoo away from his farm here in the jungle as well. And I mean, it continues. A very dominating start for Twisted Minds, and we've been seeing this, the domination when it comes to these objective fights.
Yeah, the change CC. I think at this point, right, even though they see just Caro, they're willing to commit here because he's the one that kind of changes the tides of the game. There you have it. The ultimate's being invested here. Maro a little bit
Yeah,
too
big
deep
push.
in, though.
Maro trying to find himself, create some distance there, dashing back and forth. Looks like he might be caught. Do we have a decimation coming in? Kazoo able to find the kill there as well.
Okay, that was a good trade though. Like they took down the roamer. Maro actually bought the time for Twisted Minds to be able to get in that tower on the top side, even though he was down. Mentioned also the claw that they need to deal with once it has those proper items.
Well, we were seeing in the first game that Twisted Minds were able to kind of find some some pickoffs onto Karo when it came to like that Minotaur. It's just when it came to the mid and late game, the combination of the Roam and the Lunar on the Ruby was becoming too much for Twisted Minds. So we'll see if maybe if we start inching towards that mid and late game, if S2G can create the same type of success they did in the first game.
Yeah, taking a look at the items here, the Bruno of Sigibum actually prioritized that Haas clause, which is kind of the thing when you have these marksmen that need that kind of space to be able to dish out the damage. So the Haas clause will actually help it restore its health back to full. So now what S2G needs to do is instead of contesting for the turtle, they're actually going to be taking in the tower. So instead, they're going to give themselves some space also over the top side, whereas Twisted Minds, they have all the space that they can get to take in this turtle without any contest at all from the side of S2G.
Yeah, and I kind of applaud the plan there too. They haven't been having much success when it came to these objectives. So I mean, and instead of just kind of, we do have a final slash that lands onto Kazoo. You can see Hoda comes in to help, but not able to secure the kill there onto S2G.
Yeah, the turtle once again, I think all of them so far went to the side of Twisted Minds. This is really hard for the side of S2G. They want to have all these clashes, but Twisted Minds just keep on getting those turrets, keeps on getting those objectives, which just makes them all the more farmed up right now. 86 seconds before we head over to our first Lord here. This should be Twisted Minds once again having the prime position there before they take this in. Not to mention Sano. We haven't seen so much of him yet, but he has been pushing. He has been farming there, and that is exactly what a Claude needs to do here once it reaches mid to late game.
I mean, he's already one level at the 8-minute mark. He's already one level over Sigibum on the Bruno. So this is only going to start expanding unless they can kind of find an answer. And we're already starting to get out of the laning phase. We do see Blazing Duet is activated there as they're trying to zone out the rest of S2G here from the tower, and a very clean tower take, I want to say there. The Blazing Duet came in there. The Eternal Guardian also used to push out S2G while they just cleaned up the tower without much contention.
There's a lot of zoning that happened there, right? Like there's so many heroes that will, again, that front lines here. You got the final slash from Maro, and at the same time, you don't know when Mike Sam's going to pop up that last Insanity. And not to mention, S2G also has to consider when the Blazing Duet will be popped or where Sano is going to be in. And again, the pressure here for Twisted Minds on the lanes. They're just so good with these macro plays. They've been taking in towers after towers up against S2G. And right, just like that, the pressure onto the lanes here will actually give Twisted Minds the prime position here on this Lord Pit.
Yeah, and I was just about to say, too, it's like you get too close, you're in range of Maro in the final slash, and you get too far away, then you've got a lot to compete with when it comes to the Blazing Duet and the Eternal Guardian. Now we're starting on to the Lord, about half health for Twisted Mind. It does look like Karo wants a little bit of a piece of this. You can see the rest of S2G looking for a position here, trying to get in there. Oh, nice little stun. Oh, an implosion lands on the 3 members. Here comes the Eternal Guardian. The Appraiser's Wrath comes down and gets them very low. Mike in a little bit of a bad way. Maro finds a kill onto Kazoo. And looking right now, yeah, and that is a retry down for S2G. And unfortunately, that's going to be probably this Lord going over to Twisted Minds.
Definitely. I think it kind of backfired on the side of S2G here. Like, what Karo wanted to happen was, like, land that very, very nice setup. But the thing here about Twisted Minds is the backline that they had, the Blazing Duet, and then you got the Eternal Guard from the Vexana that really needs to be looked upon here by Twisted Minds. And just like that, without Kazu in the picture, Twisted Minds just got in that free Lord. And not to mention too, I really love to commend the zoning here of Mike Sama. He was the one actually being a menace here to S2G, which is why they couldn't really position themselves very well in that Lord Pit. Here it comes. First Lord, this should actually create so much more pressure. At least the second tier towers will go to the side of Twisted Minds.
Yeah, and that's the problem here with the front line. Unfortunately, it's like it's almost at a point. Caro needs to be able to find an implosion on Coffin and Sano, which doesn't make sense on paper when you think about it, because those are the two heroes that are going to be well in the back line of Twisted Minds. Every single time an implosion is going to come out, you're going to be dealing with an Eternal Guardian. You're going to be dealing with that Blazing Duet. You've got Maro, and then you got the tankiness of the front line there. So it's just a very frustrating game with a lot of hurdles for S2G right now to overcome as they push through to the mid.
Yeah, they need that one setup once again, that miracle setup that made them win game number 1. But, you know, Twisted Minds, 33k for their side. Mike Sama and Hoda zoning them away. The Lord is pushing in on this bottom side. And not to mention the Purify still up here for Sano, just in case he gets caught up by that implosion from the Tigreal, or maybe even gets set up here by Ruby.
Another big thing to kind of point out too is a pretty low kill game for the amount of towers down. 6 towers down and 5 kills for Twisted Minds. It just means that they're getting so much value out of every single kill that they get in objectives. Just a very smart plays by them.
Yeah, 8,502 for Sano here, as compared to the Bruno here of Sigibom that only has 7,500. So that's at least a good 1,000 gold difference from the gold laners. And at this point, the Claude is pretty much activated already. And it's gonna be really hard, not unless, you know, you get that setup that I am offended, and at the same time you get that implosion. But then again, you have to deal with the Purify here of Sano, so it's not gonna be easy to take him down. Maybe perhaps take away Coffin, but his positioning is just way too good right now.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate too, because as we were talking about before, even now, Sigibum not really even farmed enough to be doing too much damage to the front line. And we were talking about it before. You need to be able to kind of create those opportunities for the Bruno to get those stacks, to get that damage, to ramp it up to a point where it's actually scary. Unfortunately, S2G, the front line, having troubles even withstanding the amount of damage that Twisted Minds can come up with during these clashes.
Yeah, there was like so much lords to deal with. Mike Sama, I don't think it's going to be a problem for him. He's going to be able to sustain all of that damage, and not to mention he still has that immortality. Look at the zoning that he's doing while everyone else is working on this Lord. Caro trying to find the right setup. Ooh. He does get 2 here. Lord being pushed away though. Sano manages to take it in for the side of Twisted Minds. Nice attempt though by Maro, but he is gonna get punished here by Twisted Minds. And that is it. That is it. It's gonna go to Twisted Minds here. This the first Luminous Lord of this game.
Caro with a wonderful play into the back line, lands an implosion, and then pushes the jungler away, looking for an opportunity or creating an opportunity for his team in S2G, but they just weren't able to capitalize. You were talking about it. Big Final Slash comes out here, Blazing Duet onto the side, bursting them down to about 10%. Cuffin finds a kill onto Lunar, and we are blazing through the mid tower. Lord still bounding his way at the top.
Yeah, Lunar's already down. That's 1 man down to not have that setup. Mike Sama's really tanky here, but this Twisted Minds, they're looking to end this one. Lord is knocking in the base, but they're taking down the inhibitors first. This is not going to be easy for S2G. They're setting it up right now. They're able to melt down the Lord, but there's a lot of minion waves here. Caro, though,
yeah, we have a 7k gold lead right now. They are trying to withstand, trying to defend minions all over the base right now. We're coming in here right now. Sigibum gets taken out, and there is that last game. Twisted Minds come ahead for Saudi Arabia.